Alright, so this is going to be a set of videos going over everything you need to know for Void's Mk.4 Protogen. This is sort of a companion to the document that you will be getting with the Protogen. I'm sort of recording this for all Protogens in the future, so this guide's going to be mostly applicable to future Protogens. There might be a few small changes, but for the most part, all of the electronics are going to be very similar. The way that it fits on you is going to be very similar. So yeah, mostly for Void, but this also works for other Protogens. If I link this to you, it probably means that your suit's going to work with this guide. So before we get into the armor, there's a few things that we need to go over, just like regular suit maintenance. You need to get balaclavas, lycra gloves, and like lycra Under Armour long sleeve shirts, and probably basketball shorts too. I would recommend 3 pairs of each, because if you're going to a con, you're going to be there for roughly 3 days, and you want a fresh set of stuff for each day. Especially with balaclavas, sometimes I bring, even like 6, so I can get a new one each day, like twice each day. Now, I will have links, obviously, on my website, and I'll probably send you links to the Amazon list that has all these things that you can get, and depending on your size, you can, but they're just references, right? So, lycra gloves, the Under Armour, it's all the same material, it's all stretchy lycra, same thing with the balaclavas. And you're also going to want a slicker brush, so I have one right here. A lot of people don't like to use these for suits, apparently, because they rip fur out. I mean, they do, but there's so much fur on a fursuit, you're never going to like run out of fur. And the way these are, they tease the fur really nicely, and they make it look really smooth. You can't achieve that with like a regular comb. So I would definitely recommend getting one of these. And you're going to want a boot dryer. I don't have one of those handy, but again, on my Amazon list, you can get them for about 30 bucks, and they basically have 2 barrels that stick up, and you can, after you spray out your suit, you can usually put 2 paws on there, 2 hand paws. They'll be dry in about 20 minutes, then switch to your feet. Put your feet on each of the tubes, those will be dry pretty quick, and even your head, you can put your head around both of the tubes, and that works pretty good. And if you need to dry out your bodysuit, you can use just like a regular box fan in front of it, or you can get a hang air. They're used for wetsuits, but they're basically, I think they're like 70 bucks. They're basically just a big clothes hanger with a fan on it. You can even like make one too if you just put a fan on a clothes dryer. But the main thing is you never want to machine dry anything with fur on it, because the heat will like melt the fur and completely ruin it. So don't ever put anything with fur on it into the dryer. For my Protogens, you can machine wash some of the parts. So the bodysuit you can machine wash. You have to fold it inside out though, and make sure all the zippers are zipped up. And you're going to want to machine wash fursuit parts on delicate or light, and you're only going to want to use like about a half measurement of regular detergent. Yeah, that should be fine. And usually after you get it out of the washer, there's going to be like a bunch of lint and stuff that came off, so that's when you'd want to use the brush. And for like the bodysuit and for all other parts that come out when they're like pretty wet after the spin cycle still, just put them in front of a box fan, or use a hang air, or use your boot dryer to dry them out. So the parts that can be washed on the Protogen: the bodysuit, again, if you fold it inside out; the tail, if you fold it inside out. There's a zipper at the base of the tail where it goes up against your back. And you can pull the stuffing out and then invert the tail, fold it inside out, and you would be able to wash it that way. You're not really going to need to wash the tail that often, maybe even never. I mean, it doesn't really get sweaty. It's not like against your body, right? But the bodysuit you are going to want to wash probably after every con, maybe after every 2 cons if you're good about other maintenance on it. So yeah, tail, bodysuit, and for Void, you have 3D printed hand claws, so you can't put your hands in the wash. But if you have like regular plush claws, you will be able to put your hands in the wash. And your feet, These come with digi feet. They're obviously way too big and bulky to go in the washing machine, so you just have to keep up with spraying them out to keep them clean. And as far as the Protogen parts go, there's padding all inside of the Protogen armor, and it all comes off, it all velcros off. So for instance, here's the shoulder pieces, and there's these pads that are sewn together on here. So these you can also machine wash if you have to. These you can throw in the dryer though, they will be fine. So for the smaller padding, you can put it in the washing machine. So these shoulder pads can go in the washing machine. There's also a smaller pad on the crotch girdle that can go in the washing machine. On the chest armor, see on the inside there's this smaller pad on the back of the battery plate that can go in the washing machine. This bigger piece, this is all one piece that wraps all the way around. Now that's too big to go in the washing machine. And then on the hips, there's a hip. There's two pads. There's one, big flat one right here, but it's thin enough that you should be able to fit it in the washing machine. And again, all this stuff just velcros off. There's strips of Velcro in here, and you can see where the rivets are here. There's just strips of Velcro that go here, here, and here. That's where these pads attach to. So these thinner ones on the inside, those can be machine washed, but then there's these wide ones. These are too big to go in the washing machine. And these also have the bags attached, so for like storage of stuff when you're walking around in suit. So yeah, those are all the pads that you can machine wash. As for anything that you can't machine wash, right, which includes obviously your head, your feet, probably your hands, and then all the larger padding. The main thing you need to do is spray it out consistently after you get done wearing it, especially if it was like a full con session and you're quite sweaty. You can avoid bad odors and suits really getting stinky if you immediately after getting out of suit spray it down with a mix of 50% water, 50% 71% iso alcohol. That's like the standard, 71% iso. So just mix that 50-50 with water, and you can add like some essential oil fragrance to it if you want, but just have that in a spray bottle, or you can buy fursuit spray, but if you want to make your own, that's how you do it. And you're going to be using a lot of it with all this stuff, so you'll go through it pretty quick. So when you take everything off, just spray down all the don't spray directly on the fur, but try to spray like the insides of the bodysuit, the insides of the feet really good, insides of the hands and everything. And, focus on like armpits, crotch, stuff like that. And then just take turns cycling all of your parts out on your boot dryer. The boot dryer dries most stuff out in like 20 minutes, right? So if your head's really sweaty, pop it on there. In about 20 minutes, it should be dry. Since you have a Protogen, though, just make sure that if it's obviously the head isn't squishy, so both of the boot dryer tubes might not fit around the neck of the head. If that's the case, just fit one of the tubes in it, and just make sure that the hot air isn't like directly facing the face, so it doesn't like melt the face or anything. Just have it kind of facing back towards the foam. And as for the gloves and feet, just pop them on there, and in about 20 minutes they'll be dry, and then switch out to another part. So, if you're taking a break at a con, you can get through all of your stuff and dry it out in like an hour or so at the end of the night. So yeah, that should be everything. So things you can machine wash after the con or when they get stinky, and for everything else, including those parts, just for everything, spray it out consistently when you're done, and then dry it out. So I think that's it for general maintenance. So we will continue on to the Protogen parts next. Okay, so onto the Protogen stuff. Here we can see this is Void's chest armor. There's the back of it. There's a little extra detail on his armor, but most of the Protogens are going to be the same. Relatively the same, at least. So on this set of armor, if we fold it open here, we'll actually take it apart first so we can see what everything is. Here's that small back pad that just goes onto the battery plate, and then here's the battery plate, right? So there's a few things that plug into the battery plate. I'll show you those in detail later, but for now let's just break it down. there's the battery module. And then we'll go ahead and remove the rest of this padding so we can get to things better. So there's like the whole chest pad, right? This is the back part, and it's open because the battery module kind of like fits it. It's got Velcro on both sides, so one side Velcros into the armor, and the other side has Velcro on it because the battery module has Velcro on it, and it just kind of sticks right on there. Well, it's upside down, but yeah, you get the idea. And then the front just has extra padding. So we can start with the armor itself. Here's the front. Now everything is adjustable on this to try to account for size, right? And you can actually separate the front and back halves completely. So on the inside here, you'll notice that there's a cable right here. This is the back, this is the front. Depending on your Protogen, you may or may not have LEDs in the front. Void has LEDs in this like rib cage area here. So that's what this plug is for. These plugs can fuck up occasionally. If you are rough with them, you're not paying attention. I've had friends like break them. But this isn't a plug you're going to be taking off very often. This is only if you ever needed to separate the front and back of the armor for some reason. But let's go ahead and do that. Just going to unclip that. And then now, again, you're not really ever going to need to do this, but I just figured I'd have the option there where you can unclip this and completely separate. This is the back of the armor. You completely separate the front and back of the armor, right? So, when you get up close there, you can see that goes to power these LEDs. This is the front. Okay. And the back, there's a little more going on in the back. Most of it's been painted over, but you can kind of see the tracks here where the wiring is. So, if I flip it around, you've got these aviator plugs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And these are what the shoulders plug into the top ones. Okay. And the hips plug into the bottom ones, and the plugs for the hips and the shoulders are like elbows, and these only go in one way. There's a notch in it, right? So one of them's voltage, ground, and 2 data, so they have to be the right plugs, or facing the right way. So don't ever force them in. They will only go in one way, and they will go in with the angle facing out, right? So you plug it in, and the elbow will go like that, and like that. The elbow will go out, because that's like the most ergonomic way to do it. And the traces in the back here are what go to these. I pot everything in hot glue because it's an insulator, and it basically just makes sure that with all the rubbing and movement you're doing in suit, that none of the wires ever touch or nothing ever frays off. So everything is like solidly attached in here. And as for the other cables, so these are the 2 main cables that are going to be attaching to the battery pack, except for the one that goes to your head, because there's 3 cables coming off of the battery pack, right? This one goes directly to your head. This one goes to the armor, which is down the cable right here, and then there's a port right there. This is the power for everything. This is the side one. This is all data lines. Okay. So when you attach the battery pack, this guy, this is the power. This will attach into it right there, and then this guy will go in and then thread on. So as far as getting it to fit right goes, there's these clips here that are what attach to the front of the chest piece, and these are adjustable. And there's a little bit of slack on here, so if you need to make your shoulders more spread apart to get it to fit you better, you can just adjust these. And same thing for down here. These side clips, these are what you're going to be taking on and off every time you get out of suit. You're not going to be unclipping these top clips ever, really. You can just leave all the armor together with these top clips on. This is just here so that you can adjust these if you ever need to. Okay? So what we're going to do is clip the front back on. fold the front piece up, and then I'm going to reattach the wiring going to the front LEDs. Okay, and now we're going to assemble this. I'm just going to try to get this in camera view, but okay, so we got that propped up like that. So this is the back, right? And you've got Velcro on both sides of this, so, but the front only has Velcro on the outside, and the purple faces out. That's how you know which way this goes on this armor. So we're gonna basically put this padding on the perimeter and just Velcro it to the perimeter of the armor here, like that, right? And the front is kind of the same deal. Get that cable out of the way, and this front armor here. Pull this up. Again, there's just Velcro, so we're just going to kind of tuck this in and get it Velcroed on. I'm flipping these clips out. These are the clips for the shoulder pads. So for the most part, you're going to just be leaving this padding in pretty much all the time, unless you have to take it out to like clean it or do something. And you can probably leave the battery module in most of the time too, unless you get worried about the temperature or you want to be safer with charging. You can take it out, and there's the case that I made for this battery module is actually impregnated with 2 layers of fiberglass, and this is just so if anything ever happened while you were charging and they decided to blow up, the fiberglass would basically keep the fire inside. I've never had an issue like that. Obviously, everything's fused and very safe. We'll go over all that later, but the option is there if you ever wanted to do that. So now that we have this in the way we want it, we're going to put the battery module in, and so you can see there's a bezel for this fan here just to make sure that nothing ever touches. Actually, you know what? Let's go over the battery module first, and then I'll assemble the rest of the armor. I'm calling this the battery module, but in reality it's the battery module and all of the controllers and everything else going on with the whole system. So up here on the top of it, this will be positioned like at the back of your neck here, so someone else can turn on the main power after you get all in suit. So we have here, this is the main power switch. This is the charging port. This is what you plug in that B6 AC charger into. This is the same plug with the same setup as the smaller battery, so you can charge them both with the exact same plug. This is what that top little red and black plug is for the main power. This is a fuse. It's a 12 amp fuse, and I have extras in your kit. This is just like worst case scenario, plan D, fuse blows. And then this is the battery indicator, just a basic indicator, but you also, on the app for your phone, when you go to the IP address for the battery module, it'll also show you the voltage here, and it'll automatically cut the power of the suit off if it gets too low. And then this is the plug that goes to your head, right? And then this is the plug that goes to the body. There's a plug right down there. We'll plug into this on the chest armor. Okay, and if we flip it around, the blue in the back, there's 24 18650 batteries. That's the main power bank for it. You know, most laptops have like maybe 3 or 4 of these in it, so it's something like 200 watt hours. You're gonna have plenty of power in this thing. You should be able to go theoretically like 8 hours with all your LEDs on. So, you know, for a full day at a con, as long as you're charging it at night or charging it in between uses, you should be fine even with all the LEDs running. On this side, we can see there's 7 LEDs. They've all been painted over. So these are the sacrificial LEDs, because this is the LED controller here, this ESP32 module, and all of its data is 3.3 volt, but the LEDs always use 5 volt logic. So having these LEDs right next to it, the 3.3 volt is just enough for these to get their data, and then they bump the data up to 5 volt, and that goes to the rest of the suit. So when in the program for WLED, they're set to skip the first LED for each channel, and that's just so these don't light up. Like, their only purpose is to bump the voltage up. Here's the main fan. Obviously, it's 12 volt fan. And down in this corner here, this is the other, well, that right there is the other microcontroller. That's a Wemos, so this is what you attach to with the firmware that I have. That's just like regular HTML code. That's what this is, and this is a relay on top, so the main power goes through this, and that's what powers the rest of the suit. And all these extra modules are just like voltage converters and stuff. And then at the top here, this is the main BMS, so this is what the power comes in directly from the batteries, and then it outputs about 11.1 volts. And then further up top are just all the plugs that are all potted in glue, just to make sure that nothing moves around. So when you first power this thing on, if I flick the switch here, blink, okay, so you can see fan comes on, the battery indicator comes on. So the only things that come on when you switch that main power switch are this fan, the battery light up top, and then power goes to the Wemos controller that has the relay on it. So once you've switched the main power on and you have the hotspot on your phone, this will connect to it. The hotspot automatically turned on my phone, so let me turn it back on. Now if I go to the IP address, I'm going to go to the IP address for this guy. Okay. Now you can see here, oh wow, that's really blown out. Okay, well, basically, this has got all the information. Wow, why is it? Okay, there we go. This has all the information on the battery voltage here, and you can refresh it by just pulling the screen up, and it'll tell you a new voltage. 11.35 is great. And there's two buttons here, so if we hit activate main power, hear a click, that light came on, so now the rest of the suit basically has power. So if you had all the stuff plugged into this, it would all turn on, including the head as well. But just be aware that the process of getting everything turned on, you have to hit that switch up top, you have to activate the main power with the program, and then also, just as a fail-safe, there's a switch on the Protogen head that you should probably just leave on, but if you ever wanted to turn it off for whatever reason, it's there. And then everything should be powered. And then all the other stuff, like the voice changer and like the fan for the face and all that, that all has its own switches on the head, which we'll go over later. So yeah. So now, like I said, if this was plugged into the suit, everything else would be powered up. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and flip that off, and we're going to actually put this in the armor now. Okay, so we got the armor back, and we're going to put the module in, and as you can see, there's all this Velcro around the edge of it, and basically, we're just going to put this in here, and kind of smush it up into the foam that we added, and you know, just everything's pretty tucked in here and hot glued, so it's not going to move around, but just, you know, don't be too rough with it. You know, it's just going to set in there kind of like that, right? Now we have to plug two things in. So first there's the little red guy here, and again, these only go in one direction, so put them in like that. That's good. And then this side one here, again, these only go in one way, so just kind of rotate till you find it. And an extra precaution, these have the threads on there, so you thread that on. and bam, now there's power going to the main armor. So if we rotate this around, it should be good. And the shoulders are probably about the length that you want them to be. If you have to adjust them, go for it, but it should be pretty good as is. And then this right here, that's the cable that'll be going around to the head and plugging in there. And then on the sides here, so we have these clips here, and these are what the shoulders are going to attach to. So actually we can go ahead and do that next. So the shoulders, I got the cables coming out of them. The cables always go towards the back, so that's how you know left from right. So we can just plug, just so you can see it. So we got two plugs here. These just go 1 and 2. You still can't see it, but yeah, see them right here. So those are plugged in, and then in the back, remember we have these aviators. Aviator, notice how it's an elbow. So the elbow will just go in like that, and then we thread it on. Extra precaution. And again, elbows go out. That guy on there. Put this in. Sorry you can't see what's happening. I'll pick it up now so you can see. So here we go, going on there. And when it comes to how you're most likely going to be storing this stuff, at a con, you can probably just leave it like this all the time. So with the battery pack plugged in, with the shoulders plugged in, unless you got worried about the battery pack getting too hot. But again, the main power switch only powering the battery monitor and the fan in here is so you can have the power switched on while this thing is charging. So you can basically keep it cool and also see what the battery's doing. If you want to, of course. So at a con, when you get out of this, you can just leave it like this and charge it just like this, probably no problem. If you want to put it in the fireproof bag, you can, but it's just an extra precaution. But when you're transporting it like to a con, the bag that I made for the chest doesn't include these, so you probably take these off and store them like in the hips or something, along with like the girdle and all the other smaller parts, because there's only 4 big bags. There's the chest bag, there's the 2 hip bags, and there's the head bag. So all the small parts you can store either just in here or in the hips. And then, yeah. So the only thing you're really going to be taking off most of the time is these shoulders. And then, yeah, it should be ready to go. I'm not going to, I already have a video of all the LEDs and stuff working, so we're not going to do that, but I will show you the hips next and how we do those. Oh, and one more thing, the pad for the back here, it's optional. If you need a little extra space, you can just take it off, but it just kind of velcros right up against this guy here. Okay, now we have the tail and the girdle, and these things kind of, you're going to want to have them together most of the time, but just for demonstration, I'll kind of show you what it's like without that. So this is the front, this is the front, this is the back. There's a stretchy bit that goes between your legs here, so it pretty much just goes on like that, and then again adjustable clips here, just these to the length depending on your waist. So with it all the way on, we have that, and then we have tail hole, right? But you got to put the tail through this first. And how we do that, let's transfer over to the tail. So the tail is permanently sewn I really can't get a good angle. The tail is permanently sewn onto this kidney belt, like that, right? And there's a small zipper here. It's just big enough that if you ever had to pull the stuffing out, you could unzip. You could unzip this, right? But you're probably never going to have to need to do that, just an extra precaution. So with these kidney belts, they go on like this, and then wrap that around, and then there's an extra second strap that helps to get it even tighter. Goes on like that, right? And then there's also suspenders, which these suspenders are totally in the wrong spot. Okay. Hold on a second. Oh wait, that's fine. Okay. Had it upside down. That would explain it. Okay, so yeah, now we have the right setup. So there's these suspenders in the back. They are elastic. They are also adjustable. I'm really bad at getting. I'm trying to show you in shot, but take your suspenders and over top. And then these actually have to get out of the way for a minute too. Velcro your suspenders on there. Re-velcro these. Okay, now we have a suspended tail, right? But we have to have these on first. So again, at a con, you're probably just going to leave these attached to the tail all the time. So let's go ahead and do that. You're basically just going to go in with the kidney belt first through the front of the tail, just like that, and pull the whole kidney belt through. All the suspenders we're going to pull through. Come on. Okay. So now, like, this is how. Yeah. So like this is how it's going to usually be. So now to get it on like this. So let's assume. Oh, suspenders. There we go. Okay. There we go. That's better. Just like this. So the order of operations, you're basically going to have your suit on, okay, up to the waist actually. Oh wait, no, sorry. Have this mixed around. Now that this is through here, I don't have your bodysuit with me, but after you did this, then you would again put this kidney belt and the suspenders and all that through the tail hole in your bodysuit, okay? So that all this stuff is sticking out on the inside of the bodysuit. Then you're going to put the bodysuit on, step into it up to about the waist, and leave the rest hanging. This is going to help a lot if you have a bed behind you and you can prop the tail up on the bed, and then you can just get up to the waist. And then you're going to put the kidney belt on, and then you're going to put the suspenders on, and then you're going to get into the rest of your bodysuit, like the arms and stuff, and then you'll have the suspenders and the kidney belt under it, and then you'll leave it to zip up, and then you'll leave it to pull the girdle around the bottom here, and then clip it. So I'm going to demonstrate that minus the bodysuit, right? So I got that guy on. Take my suspenders. You could leave these like once you get the suspenders to the right length, you could just leave them attached in the front and just drape them over you. Okay, so now I've got that, right? And I've also got the tail hole back here. So now I'm going to take the girdle. I'm going to pull the girdle up to here, and then I'm going to go clip, and then clip. Okay, like that. So we can assume, use our imagination, that there's a fursuit between this and this, right? So just these little straps are what are on the outside. And the girdle's on the outside, plate's on the outside, but the rest of the kidney belt and suspenders are on the inside. Okay, so now we have this on. In the order of operations, this is actually first. This is the first thing you're going to do. So now you have your tail and the girdle and all this stuff on, and you have your bodysuit on. What next? Next step's going to be the hips, okay? Okay, let's look at one of these hips. Now, I've said it before, but I'll say it again. I haven't said it in this video, but pretty much any of my Protogen customers know you cannot get in or out of this thing without an assistant. I mean, I can wear a full fursuit without having a handler, but for this you need a handler because you literally can't get in or out of it on your own, okay? And if you get too hot or something, you're going to need them to help you like unclip stuff, alright? And this is the first, like you can do this all on your own, but this is the first place where you're going to need a helper. And they don't have to help you with the whole thing, it's just they need help with clipping this stuff on and with clipping like the arms and getting like the head on. That's pretty much it. So if we take a look at this guy here, as you can see, this is all solid polycarbonate plastic on there, and there's also a strip of LEDs here. So as far as the circuits go, these are in line with the ring. These are in series with the ring, I should say. And then there's like 43 in several strips behind here with this diffuser that are on a separate circuit. So with the padding, I can actually again take out this padding, right? And then this is, you got these two bags you can keep stuff in, and they are riveted to the padding. And then if you can see inside there, you see the Velcro strips we got, right? And then here's the other padding that we can take out if we want to. I may as well demonstrate. See, there's one with flat paddings. And again, this can go in a washing machine, but the bigger one can't. So we're just going to go ahead and put this back in here. And you want the padding to be sticking out a little bit at the edges, otherwise your legs might catch on the edges and might chafe. But if you have any chafing anywhere on the suit, that's what's nice about being Velcro, is you can just like slightly adjust the padding to get it to where you want it to be. So the other main thing in here, you have these two bungee cords that allow for a little bit of flexibility, and these two carabiners. There's also two heavy-duty carabiners I should have sent you in case these ever fail if you pull on them way too hard or something. They're meant for like rappelling, so they should be fine. So how do you tell left from right? Well, if you look at the bottom here, see how this is angled? This angle always goes towards the back. So if I'm looking at it like this is a left. I don't know if the camera's mirroring stuff, but yeah, that's a left, because if I put that on my left, you can see that goes back, right? I'm going to go ahead and put this padding back in. And there's just Velcro strips on there that hold it in place, pretty straightforward. Okay. Now, take a shoe off for this. I'm only going to demonstrate this with one leg, but it's the same procedure for both. So we're going to step into it and make sure that both of these bungee cords are sticking out in the front and back. We'll pull it up nice and tight. Get out of my way, chair. Okay, now you can probably get the front one on your own, but on the kidney belts, right? See, on the kidney belt there's these D-rings. They should be right about where the suspenders are. There's one D-ring, there's another D-ring, and then there's also two in the back. I can find one. Okay, there's one in the back. There's another in the back. Now remember, this kidney belt is going to be underneath your fursuit, right? So these D-rings, how you get at them, on the fursuit there should be slits. There should be 4 slits. Slit right about there, slit there, and 2 slits in the back. And they have Velcro on them, so they're sealed if you're not wearing like the full armor and you don't want them to be showing. So just pop open those slits and then find the D-ring in there and then just attach the carabiner to the D-ring. So the front one I can do on my own just fine. But the back one you're going to need an assistant for. This is where you're going to start to need someone to help you. I might be able to get the back one on my own, but that's just because I'm not in a fursuit. But if you are in your full suit, you would definitely need someone to help you with this, because they're going to have to find the D-ring under your fursuit, push it out, and then attach this carabiner to it. And if you kind of lean into it, that should help to get it clipped. There we go, I got it. So now you can see that's clipped there. This is clipped up front. And they're stretchy, so you can kind of move around, but you got pretty good knee movement, a lot more than my original, right? Okay. So after we get both of these hips attached, the next step would be to do a foot. So I'm going to go get the feet. So these are ambidextrous. I'm pretty sure they're ambidextrous. I marked them in there. Yeah, they're ambidextrous. So you're going to need a helper to get in and out of these too. I'm going to try to do it on my own, but there's no zippers or anything. It's just a friction fit. Just slip it on there all the way, and this will, since it's so bulky, it'll also help to support your hips and keep them up. And obviously you can see my knee under here, but that's just because I'm not wearing the bodysuit. So this would all be covered in fur in a normal situation. So you can kind of compare. Get out of my way here. You can kind of compare, fursuit leg, right? Nice digi leg versus human leg, stubby little human leg. Yeah. So after this, the next step is going to be to do your chest armor, and we'll do that next. But before we do that, I got to show you how to put the sandals on. So these are riveted straps. There's only 5 straps on each one. Again, they are ambidextrous, so we're going to undo all the straps to start. As you can see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the heel. So we're going to put the foot on there. We're going to start by taking these front straps and pulling them up through the toes. It's kind of hard to see because it's all black. And then the side straps, we'll do one, and then the other one going right across. Come on. You can see we got 1, 2 right across, and then these guys that go through the toes, they are now underneath. So we're going to pull them tighter and loop them back around on themselves to Velcro onto themselves, like so. Okay? And the last one is this elastic one that is around the heel, right? That just goes on there like that. Okay? That's how you do sandals. You should probably wear sandals most of the time unless you want to mess your feet up real bad, especially at cons. Okay, now for the chest armor, and this is also a part that you're going to need a lot of help with. So I'm going to go ahead and get this guy on. Again, we've already got everything assembled here. These all put together. These are, the shoulders are plugged in and they're just kind of hanging out. So to get in, I'm going to go put it up high. Just go into it like so. Okay. Now you can see why you're going to need help here, because you can't really reach any of this stuff on your own. Okay. So in the back, you'll see we got, see right there? That's one plug that would go around to the front here and strap in right here. And there's a lot of extra slack on this so that you can adjust it as needed. Also, on every one of the straps, there's the little secondary, God, I can't really show you here. There's a little secondary looper after the main fork for it. So you basically, the strap goes through the looper, up over the looper, keeps going, goes to the fork, goes around a U around the fork, then comes back, then goes back through the looper. Okay, so that's what keeps the strap from like constantly coming loose, right? And then you can adjust those two to adjust the length of it. So for these, with your helper, have them plug it in and then have them adjust the length of it through all those loops until you get it to the right length. And then for the shoulders, but then yeah, once it's to the right length, you can just pop it on and off and it'll just be that length, right? And then for the shoulders, these got kind of messed up last time I did it, but last time I put this on, you can see there's straps in the back of the shoulders here. See those two? Those are going to loop under your arm. And then on the shoulder here, there's a D-ring. There's two D-rings. See them? Right there? So these straps will loop under your arms, go through the D-rings, and then strap back onto themselves, kind of like how the foot was, but with the D-rings. And just, you know, have your assistant, your assistant's definitely going to need to help you with these. Have them help you strap these down, and then you should be ready to rock. And then the only other thing you're going to have to do with the armor after this is attach the cables to the hips. So there's the two on the top that are for, there's the two on the top that are for the shoulders, then there's the two on the bottom. And again, these are the elbows face outward, and just attach each one of those with the hips, because we're assuming at this point your hips and your feet and everything are already on. So then you're just going to attach those guys onto there. And now the only things left to do are going to be the head and your gloves. And those are things you're going to be taking on and off constantly at cons. The gloves I'm not going to go over, they're pretty straightforward. Usually you take your gloves off before you take your head off so you can actually use your head and do all that sort of stuff. So the only other thing I really need to go over is the head, but just as an extra aside here, you can see right here is the plug that's going to plug into the head. And again, you're going to need an assistant to do this for you. So they got to find the plug. You're basically going to put the head on, and then they're going to find this plug, find the plug in the head, and screw them into each other, and then everything should be working good. Is there anything else I need to... oh yeah, the battery. So now you can see, not sure if you can see, maybe, but you have access to all the switches and shit back there. That main power, now that you've gotten to this point where you have everything plugged in, this now is when you would flick that main switch on and then go onto your phone and activate the main power, set up all the LEDs, and then put the head on. And also, if they need to check your battery and you don't want to check your phone, you can just have them look at that battery monitor in the back there. Alright, I also wanted to just show you the strap thing that I'm talking about, because I didn't really explain it very well. So this is a side strap for the chest, right? So we got the fork here, we have the line going through and it loops around the fork, and then this is the little guy I was talking about. So this is already looped through him once, and then you loop this through a second time, and now no matter how hard you pull on this, it won't adjust. And if you need to make sure it's even tighter, you can actually put that like right up against there and it won't move. So if I wanted to make it shorter, I would just push this through here and then pull it over the top to make it tighter, right? If I want to loosen it up, I'll pull that through, and now it's looser, okay? All your bags have this too. I mean, these clips are all over your suit. Okay, so now we can talk about the head. Obviously, if you don't have a fur-bitten head and you have different accessories, things might be different on your head. But in general, there's a few things I do the same. Like if you want a voice changer, it's going to be like this. If I upgrade your fan, it's probably going to be like this. There's other few quality of life improvements I do that are probably going to be the same on yours. So let's go over it for Void. First thing, the magnets on these masks like to pop off sometimes. So all I did is I added a little bit of Velcro on the corners here, and then that correlates to right there and right there, and that just helps the head to stay, or the visor to stay on. The other little feature like that, up here you can see there's a riveted little bits of Velcro on there, and then there's this little mask. It's made out of mesh material, and this is for, so during like flash photography, people can see your face. They can just see right through the visor really easily, so this like completely mitigates that. You can still see out of it just fine, so you can just optionally plop that right on there like that, and then the visor fits over it, and then you can see out just fine, but your face is way more hidden that way, right? But for now, let's take it off. There's the microphone right there with a pop filter on it. It is on a little bit of metal to adjust, but I wouldn't unless you need to, since there's pins for the face like right there, and you know, it's made out of metal. Deep down inside of there's a 12-volt server fan now, so you can get way more cooling power that way, but you have to kind of decide between talking and cooling, because if you have the fan on really high, you can obviously hear it a little bit out of the microphone. You can still talk, but you know, it's kind of annoying. So if you're trying to be quiet, you got to turn the fan down. And it is fully adjustable. The fan is fully adjustable. On the sides here, there's a lot of LEDs and stuff packed in here, so they kind of stick out a little bit further than the original. So let's go over all the functionality. So on your right ear, this is all of the voice controller stuff. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 buttons. These are all to change the voices. I believe this one is for robot, this one is for pitch up, this one is pitch down, and I believe this one is vibrato that you can add on to like any of these pitches. And then right next to that is the main power switch for it. And then right next to that, this is the volume knob, okay? So all the way up, all the way down. If you have it turned up really high, especially with the fan on, you will get feedback, so you got to kind of adjust the volume to something that seems reasonable. If we flip it around to the left ear, we got some more controls again. So in the front right here, this is your main, get the angle on it. Okay. Up in the front here, this is your main power switch. Probably going to leave that on most of the time. This is the switch for your fan. Okay. This is the knob for your fan speed. So just to save on power, having this switch off completely kills any power to it, but then if you turn the fan knob all the way down, it'll actually like completely shut the fan off, but you probably don't want to leave it like that, so I'd say keep this at a reasonable position and then just flick it off if you need to turn it off. And the way in the back here, this is the original button that you use to switch the faces. Okay? And all those electronics are tucked into the ear, including the Arduino and everything, so there's still plenty of space up front here. And then on the inside, look right here, there's your speaker. Okay, it's just permanently sewn into the head, well, into the neck scruff. Okay, and then this is the main cable that comes from the armor. Okay, so this is what powers the head. So when your assistant puts your head on, this is on the left side. That cable is also on the left side on the armor. They're just going to plug these two into each other. Now on the back here also you'll notice that I added fabric to the foam there. There's also one more small thing. I don't know if I can get it in frame. Probably not. Basically, I just added a different type of pin connector to the face LEDs where it actually clips, because the little DuPont ones don't really like to stay in place. And we can go to the back here. So this is where your battery originally was, that little battery. Instead now there's a barrel plug, okay? And the barrel plug is for partialing. Now make sure that you never have, I don't know why this would ever happen, but make sure you never plug like the main power of the armor in while the partial battery is plugged in. I don't know how that would happen, but just make sure that never happens. So I think that's pretty much everything for the head, so I can actually show you partial battery now. And here's the partial battery. So it's got your logo on there. This strap, this goes around your waist, alright? So it goes around the back. So this is elastic, so it should fit pretty much any waist. And then it's hanging out back there now. And as you can see, we've got main power switch right here, and then right under that is the same type of aviator plug that goes to the big battery pack, so you can charge both this and the big battery pack with the same type of charger. And then this guy here, the barrel plug, would just plug up into the back of the head right there, and then you just kind of hang out with what looks like a radio attached to you. But this has 6 18650s in it. It's got way more capacity than that original little battery pack that you had. Lots of switches though, so you got to make sure that this switch is turned on. Make sure the head switches, you leave it on, and then the main armor, if you're using that, you got to make sure that switch is turned on. But it's all just precautionary. But most of them you can just leave on most of the time. The other thing I should probably go over is the fuses. So on this guy here, you can see we have a little fuse terminal. Right? We'll not focus on that. There's a little fuse terminal in here though, okay? And this is like Plan D safety stuff, because the BMSs, this has a BMS in it, so does the big one. There's a transistor circuit in there that will basically temporarily shut off the BMS if you pull too much power. There's like a short or something, and it won't reset unless you plug it back in to charge it. Basically, that's how it knows, oh, I think I'm okay now. But as an extra precaution, I have physical fuses in here, okay? Now, if any of these were to ever blow, it would mean there was a problem that you would need to find, or that I would need to find. I mean, some wire is touching. I gave you replacement fuses, but if a fuse blows, realistically, if you put another one in there, it's probably just going to blow again, because whatever was messed up hasn't been fixed yet. But it's there as an extra layer of precaution. Should never blow, but if it does, contact me. So these fuses here are 5 amp, and the ones that are in the main power that are they're the screw-in terminal on the top of the battery module. Those are 12 amp. So in what I sent you, there's a few extra 12 amp fuses and a few extra 5 amp fuses. So in the event that there was a short, one of them blew, if we found the problem, you would be able to just put a new fuse in and keep using the suit. Okay? Okay, so here is the charger module. It's been modified a little bit to give you a nice long cable and to have a standard aviator plug that again works with both the little guy and the big main power unit down here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and plug this in. It goes beep. We're just going to take our terminal, plug it into the back of the battery module. Again, these only going one way. We'll plug it in, screw it in. Okay. Now, put this up here. Oh, don't tell me you're not gonna. Come on, just your. Okay. That's just great. I guess I'm gonna have to do this with my phone then. Okay, hopefully my phone will do this a little bit better. Oh, it still does. There we go. Okay. So, we have that plugged in right there. And we have this guy plugged in. By default, should be at 11.1. If it's not, what you have to do is press the start. Oh, you're just going to keep trying to change, aren't you? Just press the start button, and that will start blinking. That's to adjust the amperage. We don't want that. We'll hit that again. It's 11.13S. This is what we want, but just to show you how to change it, you would hit that. That's 4S. Or this to go down. Okay, so we want 11.1. If I hit start again, it goes to something else, and if I hit it again, now that's blinking, okay? This is the main thing we care about, is the amperage. So for the big main suit, I recommend, I'm doing it again, I recommend that you charge it at 4 amps, but maximum probably around 5 amps. That's more because this thing can't really handle any more than 5 amps. And for the smaller one, I would recommend probably 2 amps max. So we're going to hold start again. And then it's going to give us that. And then we're going to hit that again. Oh my god, I'm fighting with this phone so bad. And then you can see the voltage is starting to go up. There's a 5,000 second timer on this though, so it only goes for like a little over an hour, and then it'll just stop on its own. But you can get it mostly charged all the way after that. So yeah, now we're successfully charging at 4 amps. But just to show you again, my phone's being a pain in the ass, I'm going to unplug it and go through the procedure again. Okay. Plug it back in. Very good. Okay, so it's on 4 amps. Sorry, we want. We're just going to hold start. And do that, and then just press start again. And now it's good. Okay. Let's do it one more time, but make it lower. So let's say we have the smaller battery pack plugged in. We're going to press start. That's blinking. We're going to move it down to 2. And then we're going to hold start. And we're going to press start. And now it's charging at 2 amps. I guess it's also worth mentioning that if you turn the main power on here, it's acting normal right now, but sometimes just the way this dumps current into it, it'll make the light, the battery light flicker. That's just the way it is when it's charging. But you can hear the fan going in there. All right, that'll help to keep it cool. If you want to have it running, doesn't really matter. And the bags. So here is the bag for the battery module. Again, there's 2 layers of fiberglass sewn into this, just to be like a fire retardant. So if you were ever worried about it for any reason, or I mean, I made this mostly because I'm shipping your battery modules separate, and they're going to be in this, both of them. So that's just an extra precaution for that, but you could just zip it up and literally just charge the battery in here. And then the other bags, there's 4 of them. There's 1 for your head, 2 for the hips, 1 for the chest, but they have pads on one part of them. It's the part you kind of set down. They have clips to carrying them, and zippers sewn in, and they're all sergered, so pretty tough thread on them. Okay. So I think the one last thing I want to do is go over again just a condensed version of how you're going to put stuff on and how you're going to take stuff off. And again, both of those need to have, in both of those situations, you need to have someone helping you to get in the suit, to get out of the suit. Sometimes even to get your head on and off. I mean, I was able to get it on my own, but it really helps if you have someone there with you to help you. So you really need a handler to do this correctly. Okay. So order of operations here. First thing you're gonna do: get your tail out, put the plate for the back of the girdle through the tail, right? Then take the tail kidney belt and the suspenders and put those through your bodysuit. Then you're going to put your bodysuit on halfway just by stepping into it and putting it on up to your waist. Then you're going to attach the kidney belt, attach the suspenders, and then tighten the kidney belt with the second set of straps. Okay. Then you're going to put on the rest of your bodysuit, zip it all up. Next thing you're going to do is get your hips. You're going to put a hip on, clip the front, get an assistant to clip the back, to the other side, and you're going to get an assistant to help you put your feet on. Next thing you're going to do is get your armor. It should already be ready with your shoulders already attached and already plugged in. You're going to have an assistant help you put that over your head. You're going to have them help you clip the sides and then adjust the clips so that they're tight enough. It's only one time thing you have to do. And then you're going to have your assistant help you attach the arm straps here, pull them back over themselves. Now those are on nice and tight. Then you're going to have them take the plugs, the wiring plugs, the coil cord from the hips, have them plug that in to the left and right of the bottom of the back right here. After you get all of the chest armor and stuff on, before you put your hands or your head on, the next thing you should do is have your assistant turn the main power switch on, get your phone out, look up the IP of the main power switch, activate the suit, and go to the WLED, set up your presets for that, and then you can put your head on, attach the plug for the head, turn your microphone on, adjust the volume correctly, and then you should be able to put your hand paws on, and you should be ready to go. Okay. And your bag should be big enough to like put your hand paws in there. Should be big enough for your phone and all other sorts of stuff. Plenty of water and Gatorade and stuff should fit in there too. I think the bag's pretty big. So yeah, I think that should be it. Oh well, maybe I should go over how to get everything off. Pretty much just the reverse of getting everything on, and you only need an assistant for like a few parts of it, right? So take your head off. Well, unscrew the head first. Take the head off. Take the hand paws. Well, it would probably be take the hand paws off. Unscrew the head. Take the head off, and then undo the arms. Unclip the sides. Then you can take the whole chest piece off, and then you're pretty free at that point. But if you can have them help you just unclip the carabiners in the back for the hips, then the rest you should be able to get off on your own. It would also help if they could help you get the feet off too. So I think that covers everything. I think that's it. The other thing will be the electronics, and those I will go over on the document. So should be it. Here we've got the LEDs on two different segments here, so you can see that the emblems are doing something different than the rings. So the way that I have it set up in the program right now will allow you to do that, since the rings are all before the flats in the program. Just select segment 1 to do the flats, and then segment 2 to do the rings, and you can just select the colors after selecting them. So I'll go ahead and turn the lights out here. You can see what it's doing. See, we got pulsing going for the middle there, and then the rings are doing their own thing. And you can make them do whatever you want. These count as flats, by the way, so there's 4 segments that are flats, one for each emblem. Well,
shoulders, hips, and then ears, and then this is the fourth flat, and then there's one set of rings, two set of rings, three set of rings in the ears, but the earrings are kind of behind the panels since there wasn't enough space to have them separate. And if you don't have the full suit on, there's a switch on the left ear here that allows you to just switch on the regular 5-volt whites. But obviously, having that on will drown out whatever colored LEDs are doing.
I'm making the noise because I got the fan on. Test, 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 test. So as long as you can get like a full view of the whole thing, that's really all I need. Alright.
We're good
All
then.
the way down to the feet.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
I could scroll, get closer.
And I can kind of demonstrate the range of motion here. I can
Oh, that's pretty good.
match.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Alright. I think that should be good. You want to maybe get a few pictures?
Sure.
Okay.